Have you ever wondered why there are women no longer young who still live alone? No husband, no partner, no lover. No one calls to say goodnight. No message asking, "Did you have dinner yet?" No dinner with someone across the table. No morning hugs. And no more longing to keep someone by their side. From the outside, people call them left behind. But here's a truth few are sensitive enough to see. They were not left. They chose to stay with themselves. Some mornings they rise early, brew tea, and sit on the porch, watching sunlight filter through the leaves. No sound. No one beside them. But the silence isn't sad, it's warm. They don't worry what others think. They don't ask, "Am I still attractive?" They don't wear lipstick to keep anyone. Don't sigh for someone who no longer loves them. They no longer measure their worth through others' eyes. They've loved it, been hurt, clung on, forgotten themselves. But one day they stopped, not because they ran out of love, but because they were full of themselves. A woman living alone after 60 is not an ending. It's a different story, deeper, quieter, and more real than any romance she's ever known. She chooses to stay in her small room, to rearrange her old wardrobe without anyone asking, to cook a meal just for herself as a ritual. And what puzzles society is this? She's okay, strangely okay. Society is used to women in pairs, with husbands, someone to lean on. If not, then she must be urgently searching or at least waiting. But these women step outside that logic. They don't seek someone to complete them. They simply guard themselves from feeling lacking. They don't need to be chosen. They choose. You might see her at the library reading alone, no phone, or at the park sitting longer on a bench than people expect. No one pulls her into noisy parties. No one holds her hand in the street. But she's not lacking, not sad, because since when did a woman living alone become seen as a misfortune? Silence is not emptiness. It's a space preserved to listen to memories, to pain, to past loves that weren't right, and then beyond all that, to listen to herself. Carl Jung once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." And that woman has walked through enough storms to know self-understanding is a journey that needs silence. No one teaches women how to live alone. Since childhood, we are taught how to be a wife, a mother, a daughter-in-law, a caregiver. Few teach us how to become ourselves when we are no longer anyone's anything. Yet they women living alone after 60 are quietly doing just that every day. No boasting, no preaching, just living, and every step they take is already an answer. Some women have lost the man they loved most to illness. Some watched their partner walk away when the gray hairs began to show. Some spent a lifetime sacrificing only to end up with an empty room. The loss didn't turn them cold. It made them real. No more illusions, no more demands. Only one thing left: I want the rest of my days to be light on the heart. They choose to be alone, not because they don't believe in love, but because they no longer believe in giving up freedom just to have someone called a life partner. They are no longer afraid of silence in an empty home. What they fear is being forced to nod politely to play the role of someone happy to please someone, just to make the house feel occupied. Being alone is no longer a punishment. It has become a reward for growing up. They've spent a lifetime pleasing others. Now they want to be themselves in peace. They once chose meals their husband liked, chose curtain colors to match their daughter's taste, chose to live near neighbors to avoid judgment. But now they choose the room they like, listen to the music they love, sleep when they feel tired, speak when they feel the need, and stay silent when it's not worth it. No one defines them anymore. They don't have to explain themselves to anyone. They just live, and live truthfully. They choose a life with less noise, no more chaos, no more rushing. The youth was loud. Love was loud. The family was loud. They once lived in a whirlwind for years. Now they can sit for hours reading an old book, grocery shop alone unhurried, cook not for anyone else but for themselves. No one calls their name from the living room, but in their mind there are no more sighs. They've realized that happiness doesn't lie in a relationship. Happiness lies in no longer having to struggle to be okay. The seasoned woman knows clearly some things slip away the more you hold on. Some relationships hurt the more you try to keep them. And some companions are simply people who lost their way. They no longer need someone to walk with them to the end. They just need to not abandon themselves. And so being alone is no longer a circumstance. It has become a choice that is mature enough, clear enough, strong enough not to shout, "I'm okay," because everyone can see she's living in her way. If you too have chosen to live alone, share your thoughts in the comments. And if you know a woman like this, send her this message. Don't forget to click like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'm deeply grateful to you because women like this deserve to be seen, to be understood, and to be called by their true name. Strong, graceful, and deeply beautiful. There is a common and cruel misunderstanding. When people see a woman living alone, they assume she must be lonely. But how many ever pause to ask, is she feeling lost? Or is she truly living? Some women have lost the man they love most to illness. Some watched their partner walk away when the gray hairs began to show. Some spent a lifetime sacrificing only to end up with an empty room. The loss didn't turn them cold, it made them real. No more illusions, no more demands. Only one thing left: I want the rest of my days to be light on the heart. 4. They choose to be alone not because they don't believe in love, but because they no longer believe in giving up freedom just to have someone called a life partner. They are no longer afraid of silence in an empty home. What they fear is being forced to nod politely, to play the role of someone happy, to please someone, just to make the house feel occupied. Being alone is no longer a punishment. It has become a reward for growing up. 5. They've spent a lifetime pleasing others. Now they want to be themselves in peace. They once chose meals their husband liked, chose curtain colors to match their daughter's taste, chose to live near neighbors to avoid judgment. But now they choose the room they like, listen to the music they love, sleep when they feel tired, speak when they feel the need, and stay silent when it's not worth it. No one defines them anymore. They don't have to explain themselves to anyone. They just live, and live truthfully. 6. They choose a life with less noise, no more chaos, no more rushing. The youth was loud, love was loud, the family was loud. They once lived in a whirlwind for years. Now they can sit for hours reading an old book, grocery shop alone unhurried, cook not for anyone else but for themselves. No one calls their name from the living room, but in their mind there are no more sighs. 7. They've realized that happiness doesn't lie in a relationship. Happiness lies in no longer having to struggle to be okay. The seasoned woman knows clearly, some things slip away the more you hold on. Some relationships hurt the more you try to keep them. And some companions are simply people who lost their way. They no longer need someone to walk with them to the end. They just need to not abandon themselves. And so being alone is no longer a circumstance. It has become a choice that is mature enough, clear enough, strong enough not to shout, "I'm okay," because everyone can see that she's living in her way. If you too have chosen to live alone, share your thoughts in the comments. And if you know a woman like this, send her this message. Don't forget to click like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'm deeply grateful to you because women like this deserve to be seen, to be understood, and to be called by their true name: strong, graceful, and deeply beautiful. There is a common and cruel misunderstanding. When people see a woman living alone, they assume she must be lonely. But how many ever pause to ask, is she feeling lost? Or is she truly living? Loneliness is when you can't connect with yourself. Being alone is when you start to truly hear your own voice. That difference, though it seems subtle, is the boundary between suffering and freedom. Being alone is not lacking, it is being full. One autumn morning, Mrs. Martha, 74 years old, brews ginger tea and sits alone by the window. Birds fly past, leaves fall, only one cup on the table. But she doesn't feel lacking. She once sat at that table with her husband, now gone. Once cooked for her children who moved away long ago. Once called a man every evening and got nothing in return but silence. Now she chooses to stay with herself. No one smiles at her, but no one makes her cry either. Freedom isn't about having no one. Freedom is not needing anyone to feel whole. Do you remember the feeling of waiting for someone to call, worrying if you said something that upset them? Cooking a dish they liked even when you didn't feel like cooking that day. Many call that love, but sometimes it's just exhaustion dressed in tenderness. The seasoned woman understands that, and she chooses not to strain herself anymore. Society teaches women to sacrifice, but few ever teach them how to enjoy quiet. When a woman living alone walks into her house at night, she turns on the light, cooks a simple meal, plays an old song. There's no conversation. No one asks how her day went, but inside there are no more sighs. That's not loneliness. That's peace of peace. Only those who've weathered storms can recognize. Loneliness is when you're with someone and still feel invisible. Being alone is when you refuse to be invisible anymore. A woman once said, "I used to live in a house with someone, but every word was cold. Now I live in an empty room, but my heart feels warm." People see from the outside a single bed, a solo meal, a quiet trip, then conclude, she must be very sad. But they don't know that woman at last gets to eat what she likes, go where she wants, and breathe without needing permission. There are relationships full of people and still empty, and there are rooms that are quiet and full of life. We grow up with the image that happiness means having someone. But if someone drains you, shrinks you, makes you forget yourself, then being alone becomes the kindest thing you can do for yourself. Love shouldn't be something to fill a void. It should be something shared between two people who are already whole. A woman who lives alone, it's not that she doesn't want love. She still wants to hold a hand, to be asked how she's doing, to rest her head on a shoulder. But she no longer wants to trade herself for it, no longer wants to beg for affection or twist herself to fit someone else's expectations. She doesn't need to be saved. She only needs to be seen and truly seen. And until that happens, she chooses to stay with herself, in her own space, her own rhythm, her own breath. She's not afraid of quiet Saturday nights. She doesn't feel ashamed wrapping her own birthday gift. She's not sad having only one cake on the table at New Year, because those things no longer define her worth. If love comes, it must be the kind that makes her glow, not the kind that drains her further. And if someone asks, "Don't you feel lonely living alone?" they might smile and say, "I used to feel lonely lying next to someone while my heart felt empty. Now I sit alone, but my heart feels full." But don't let their calm appearance fool you, because that peace did not come easily. Not everyone can choose solitude with grace. Some women had to walk through so much, just to be able to sit quietly now, sip a cup of tea and smile to themselves. What they've been through, not everyone sees, but it is the cracks in life where the light gets in. Let's go deeper to see what they have lived through and why the very things that once seemed to break them are what now make them unshakable. 1. They once loved to the point of losing themselves. In their youth, they loved as if love was the only thing they needed to live. They loved with all their devotion, loved with the belief that if I just try hard enough, he'll understand. They cooked even when no one asked, waited when no one came back. They gave up what they liked to hold on to someone who didn't need to be held. And there were nights they lay facing the wall, not out of anger, but out of exhaustion. Tired of having to play the role of the understanding wife, the perfect mother, the woman who never asked for anything. And it was in those moments they began to lose themselves. 2. They once held on and realized that what no longer belongs to you, you can't hold it no matter how tightly. Some cried in the bathroom, not wanting their children to see them weak. Some faked happiness at parties knowing the one beside them no longer loved them. Some begged a man to stay, knowing each day it was tearing them apart. They clung out of fear. Fear of being alone, fear of what others might say, fear of making their children sad, fear that if they let go, they'd have nothing left. But then after a certain kind of breaking a cold remark, a blank stare, or being forgotten on their birthday, they woke up and they chose to let go. 3. They once endured, then one day realized that endurance is not a virtue. It's how we slowly disappear. Many women live their entire lives without complaining, never voiced their pain when scolded, never told anyone about being neglected, never blamed the man they loved when he left without a goodbye. They stayed silent, thinking that a good woman should know how to endure. But in that silence, they lost their voice, lost their spark, lost the light in their eyes, the very thing that once lit up their youth. Then one day they looked in the mirror and no longer recognized the woman looking back. That was when they knew it was time to return to themselves, not to win someone back, but to find who they used to be. 4. They once endured deep wounds, but never let those wounds turn them to stone. Some lost loved ones, some lost love, some lost faith and kindness. They've been through long nights where the hum of the fridge was louder than any conversation, curled up in bed afraid of a silent heart attack in the night with no one knowing, betrayed by the one they trusted most. But they didn't turn to stone. They just grew quieter. And when no one else stayed, they began to stay with themselves. Carl Jung once wrote, "The tree that reaches to heaven must send roots down to hell. The woman, she is that tree. To live as she does today, she once had to face the hell within her life. She once asked herself, is there something wrong with me? Then she realized nothing was wrong. She had just loved the wrong person in the wrong way at the wrong time. There were years when she thought she wasn't good enough, not beautiful enough, not attractive enough, not clever enough. But after decades, she began to understand. It wasn't that she lacked anything. She had simply poured her love into a place that didn't deserve it. And when love is not received properly, it doesn't bloom. It drains the one who gives it. She had once been drained, and it took her a long time to relearn how to water herself. 6. She didn't become cold. She simply stopped burning herself for someone who didn't need her flame. Some people say she seems hard to approach. She must have been hurt too much when she was young. Now she's cold like iron. But she is not cold. She just knows her worth, and she no longer wants to burn again, not even once. 7. And then little by little, she pieced herself back together. No longer perfect, but real. She started learning how to be alone without feeling empty. Learning to hug herself each night, to clean her house alone, go to the hospital alone, and return home alone in the rain. All the things that once hurt her now form the foundation of a peaceful life. She doesn't need anyone to soothe her. She doesn't need to be someone's mine. She just needs to look in the mirror and see a woman who has lived, has loved, has broken, and has come back whole in her way. In the next part, we'll talk about something very different. A new kind of love, one that doesn't bind, doesn't suppress, doesn't make her smaller. A love not born out of emptiness, but from fullness. And because of that, she's in no rush. She's not searching. She waits if needed. But she never stops living while waiting. After everything she's been through, you'd think her heart had closed. But no. These women, though they live alone, though they have once shattered, they still long to be loved. But the love they wait for is no longer the kind of love they had at 20, full of fire and fantasy. They don't need someone to save them. They don't need someone to fill the void. They need a love that doesn't make them smaller. A love that doesn't require them to abandon themselves just to be kept. And because they now understand pain so well, they know how to treasure this new kind of love. Quiet, not loud, but deep and healing. People often think if a woman has lived alone too long, she must have stopped believing in love. But the truth is, they haven't stopped believing. They've only stopped trading themselves for it. 1. They still want to love, but only a love that doesn't require them to forget themselves. No one lives their whole life without longing to touch another heart. That woman, whether 60 or 75, still wants a hand to hold a gaze that listens. But the difference is, she is no longer willing to trade herself just to have someone by her side. I don't need someone to make me whole. I just want to meet someone who, standing beside me, remains whole too. 2. They don't need a perfect man. They simply hope for someone mature enough to love without causing harm. The young love with expectations, the seasoned love with truth. They don't need promises. They don't need bouquets or sweet talk in the beginning. They need someone who understands that silence can be a form of love, and presence is sometimes more valuable than words. 3. They don't demand, but they know exactly what they can no longer accept. A busy man is fine. A clumsy one still okay. But someone who makes them beg for affection is no longer what they wait for. They no longer live on the need to be loved. They live by the truth that if someone comes, he must come with kindness. 4. They're not waiting for a fairy tale. They want a relationship without roles to play. At this age, they don't need to be the interesting woman. They don't need to strain to be younger, prettier, or smarter. They just want to be themselves fully as they are, with every wrinkle with their depth. And if someone cannot love them that way, then being alone is still the kinder choice. 5. They're not in a rush. They're not searching. They don't force it, but if it comes, they'll know. Love is no longer something they chase. It's something they recognize if they're quiet enough to hear themselves. No more quick dates, no more meaningless texts, just a glance that feels safe, a sentence that feels true, a silence that doesn't feel strained. 6. They don't need to be chosen. They want to be seen. They were once the shadow behind someone's success, once the one who cared but was never named. Now they don't need praise. They just need someone to truly see them and not want to change them. Carl Jung once said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. When two people truly meet, both are changed, but neither loses themselves." 7. And if love doesn't come, they're not sad, because they were already full long before anyone knocked. That woman doesn't close her heart, but she doesn't leave the door wide open for anyone to walk in with muddy shoes. Love, if it comes, must come like a guest with manners. One who knows to knock, knows to wipe their feet, knows how to sit quietly in her heart without breaking things. You might think, are there still people who love like that? The answer is yes, but not many. And that woman who lives alone, she will wait. But she does not stop living while she waits. She does not freeze. She does not sleepwalk through life. Every day she still brews tea, still takes care of herself, and still believes that if that love ever arrives, it will never make her smaller. In the next part, we'll step into very different ground, not love, but freedom. A deep affirmation: I don't need someone to choose me. I choose myself. This is not pride. It is the final kindness that a woman can offer to a heart that has been hurt. One day that woman wakes up and knows she's no longer waiting for someone to come, no longer hoping for a call, a message, an invitation, no longer wondering if she's good enough to be loved, gentle enough to be kept. Because more important than all of that is the fact that she has chosen herself. 1. She once hoped someone would choose her. Now she chooses not to lose herself inside someone else. She used to ask herself, am I worthy enough yet? Does he want to keep me? But after years and disappointments, she realized the deepest pain wasn't not being chosen, but losing herself in trying to fit in. Now she no longer tries to be the ideal woman. She just wants to live as a real woman and be enough, with all that she is and all that she no longer is. 2. She's not afraid of being alone. She fears losing herself in the effort not to be. People often think being alone is a failure, that it means being unwanted, too stubborn, too demanding. But they don't see some women had to pay with years of their youth and many nights of tears just to learn one truth. Loving the wrong person is lonelier than being alone. 3. She once abandoned herself to hold on to someone else. Not anymore. Now she holds on to herself even if someone walks away. She once endured, stayed silent, did everything so that person wouldn't leave. But now if someone turns away, she doesn't chase. She simply closes the door gently and returns to herself. No blame, no regret, no audience for the pain. Only this: if you can't stay in truth, then your leaving is a kindness for us both. 4. She no longer needs to prove she's good enough to be loved. She knows exactly who she is. And love is no longer a reward. When she was young, she sought approval, wanted someone to see her value and love her because of it. But now she doesn't need anyone to say you're worthy, because she has already given that truth to herself. 5. She's not cold. She simply knows where she never wants to return. People say she's hard to get close to. No one's good enough for her anymore. She's closed herself off. But in truth, she's just mature enough not to step back into places that once broke her. She no longer tries to please, no longer tries to be accepted. Simply this: if my presence is not seen, then my absence will be the answer. Try not to. She's not trying to stand out. She just wants to be herself without being edited. At this age, she doesn't need dresses to attract anyone, doesn't need to smile more to seem warmer, doesn't need to talk less to appear easier to be around. She's not afraid of being alone. She's only afraid of having to pretend one more time. 7. She doesn't need anyone to complete her. She just wants someone to walk in and not fall together. If someone comes, that's good. If not, that's still good. Love, if it happens, must come from fullness, not from emptiness. It must be companionship, not two people dragging each other through exhaustion. I no longer need someone to choose me. I choose myself every day with kindness, patience, and honesty, because that was something she never did enough when she was younger. And now she doesn't want to miss it in the years she has left. Someone might ask, if she doesn't need to be chosen, if she no longer desires love, what is there left for a woman like that to hope for? The answer isn't nothing. It's that what remains is the most precious thing. A clarity not from the outside but from within. A radiance not from lights but from the harmony between heart and life. It's not something others can see right away, but everyone near her can feel it. And that is the greatest secret of women who live alone, yet still glow. They don't try to stand out, don't try to be loved, don't need anyone to follow their steps. But whenever they appear, the air in the room seems to slow, the space becomes stiller, and no one can explain why except them. 1. They shine not because they've never been broken, but because they were and chose to rise again with grace. Some wounds don't need retelling. They live in their eyes, in their walk, in how they pour tea for themselves. They don't show off their pain, nor do they use it to be bitter. They carry only what's needed and release what once drained them. That is the beauty of someone who knows what enough looks like. 2. They shine because they no longer live to prove anything. They live to feel truly alive. No longer being someone's mother, someone's wife, or someone's lover. No longer trying to look younger than they are, act happier than they feel, and smile brighter than their heart can handle. They don't try anymore, and that's exactly what makes them beautiful. 3. They know how to be quiet without fading, know how to love without clinging, know how to retreat without feeling like they've lost. If a relationship makes them doubt their worth, they step back, gently, without regret. If an invitation exhausts more than it excites, they decline, politely, without guilt. And it's that very thing that makes them shine, not with light borrowed from someone else, but with the fire they've kindled inside. 4. They no longer live by shoulds, they live by, this feels right for me. In the morning, they wake up when they feel ready, eat what feels gentle on their stomach, read what soothes their heart, avoid places that drain their energy. They no longer live to please, they live to keep their soul intact. 5. They don't wait to be loved, but if love comes, they welcome it with quiet grace. No excitement, no judgment, no attachment, just a soft smile. If you're here with sincerity, stay. If not, I'll still be okay. Truly. Love, if it doesn't make them shine brighter, doesn't need to stay. 6. They don't leave lipstick marks, but they leave marks in memory. People don't remember them for being beautiful, not for being smart, not for charming words, but because they are a presence rare and quiet. Very few can exist this way, whole, peaceful, and deep. 7. And finally, they glow because they no longer search outward, they found themselves within. Carl Jung said, "Those who look outside dream. Those who look inside awaken." That woman, she has awakened. She doesn't need to be saved, doesn't need praise, doesn't need a definition. She is herself, no more, no less. And that is already enough. To close, if you meet a woman who lives alone, don't rush to ask, "Aren't you lonely?" Try instead to look into her eyes, her hands, the quiet steadiness in her posture. You'll see she is not alone. She is in the deepest relationship of all with her soul. And if you are a woman like that, or walking slowly in that direction, please know this: you are not lost. You are the embodiment of a very rare beauty, the beauty of someone who has chosen herself and remains faithful to that choice every single day. If this message touched something in you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. I am deeply grateful to you for that, because maybe someone out there will recognize themselves in your silence. Because living alone doesn't mean being alone. It means living truly without performing, living deeply without noise, and living right without needing permission. See you in the next video.